Let's go!
If you're watching the game, you're like, what did these guys do for 2 weeks?
Brian Kelly, the worst coach game of his career. I'm going to tell you what really bothered me, which was the low IQ, not only coaching, but playing in this game. And the funny thing about it is we start things off. There was a false start penalty. The crowd brought it. And then guess what? The offensive line is completely out of sorts. You'll see right here on this play, the right guard actually pulls around. He runs the absolute wrong play, and we get an unblocked defensive tackle right up the gut. And this is a sack on pretty much every quarterback in the SEC, not named Jalen Milroe. Savion Jones can't keep contained. It was a really rough night for him, and he had a chance to make a play. Look, Milroe is going to make a few plays like this, but this is a problem. I would love to have seen the LSU defense actually make Milroe have to make more difficult throws such as this. This was really the only damaging Ryan Williams play of the night, which is crazy to think that we got blown out, and Ryan Williams, also had a drop touchdown in this game. It's just crazy to me that this is how this game would play out. One kind of wild part of this game is that handoffs to the running backs was actually guarded fine for LSU early in the game. And watch how gap sound everybody was on this play, okay? So it's just a simple little handoff right up the gut, and everybody's doing their job, right? Everyone's sitting in their gaps. No one is over-penetrating. And you'll see me talk a lot about this. When you play Alabama with a dual-threat quarterback and a pretty solid running back in Jalen Milroe, you don't want to be like flying into the backfield to try and make plays. Just stay in your gap, do your job, and look at how good that is. It doesn't hold up, though. Okay, so we get to this 3rd and 8, and this has been a big problem with LSU defensive backs over the past couple of seasons, right? We're always a half second too slow. This is what we want, and for some reason, them completing this, you'll see throughout this film study, had a massive effect on the rest of this game, okay? P.J. Woodland, if he would have made this play, it would have made our defense a lot better, and you'll see throughout this film study as to what happened. So let's just focus on the play itself. It's a quick little screen here to the right. Jalen Milroe likes his numbers. It is a 2v2, and he's trusting Law to beat Woodland in a foot race, okay? So first thing here is Woodland is kind of showing that he might blitz or whatever, but you'll see that he has a late reaction to this quick screen. If the receiver to your side is stepping this way, your first step needs to be this way. That is your responsibility here. But watch, he takes a slow step back. He's a little slow to react. Now, once again, he is a true freshman, and this is a failure of development in a lot of ways because there's so many 4-star or better defensive backs on this team that do absolutely nothing for this team. So Woodland probably shouldn't be playing as a 3-star true freshman at this point. But watch, the game is moving really fast, and he slips, okay? If he doesn't slip, he's probably making this tackle, and it's a difficult 4th down decision. But you see, he's slow. Even after the slip, he takes a really bad angle, and obviously, Sage Ryan has a chance to make a play. Once he gets right here, there's no way Law is going to beat you to the outside here. Get the hell off this block and make a play. That's impossible for Sage Ryan to do, though, as many of you know. Woodland does make the tackle, but it's too late, and they pick up a 1st down. You have got to maintain your gap. And the guy who actually makes a mistake is Braden Swinson, trying too hard to make a play. All right, your gap is this C gap right here, okay? A, B, C gap. You have a contained corner over here, okay? So if anything bounces to the outside, the corner is going to make this play, all right? What we don't want you to do under any circumstance is get too wide or get to this side of the tight end. Okay, so Jalen Milroe is reading the backside contain, and he decides to keep it, and you'll see here that he was actually going to go to the outside. So Swinson decides, hey, look, I see Milroe is keeping it, so I'm going to go outside and make a play. The problem is he disengaged a little too quickly on this tight end right here. So Milroe was able to see that, and you see we have 2 people in the same gap. Alexander is a contained guy. Swinson is now eating off his contain. He had a mistake like this versus Milroe last year, except in the passing game. And now we're outnumbered, all right? They get good second-level blocks here. The next thing you can't do versus Jalen Milroe is over-penetrate yourself out of the play, all right? So you notice this backside DT here is through this gap. We don't want that. We do not want you to over-penetrate because you just take yourself out of the play, especially if we have a run blitz coming over here from the outside. And then we have two guys in the same gap over here because we can't have a DT that can hold a double. So you'll see that this is just as bad as it possibly gets in a run fit. Paez getting blown back to Ponchatoula. Okay, so we can't fill, and we're getting drilled out of the play, and this is a big problem. We have not been good at making touchdown-saving tackles, all right? This was the early difference in this game. They didn't have to convert in the red zone, and we had to, all right? Huge problem. All right, so I want to give you a question, okay? There is one player on this LSU team that is literally the lowest ranked player, offense or defense. I want you to give it your best guess, and I'll reveal who this is at the end of the stream. He is the lowest ranked player in his position in the Power 4 in all of college football, and I'll tell you who that is at the end. Okay, once again, it could be an offensive or defensive player, and I'll reveal who it is, and no, it is not Sage Ryan, okay? I'm already writing some notes to remember that. Okay. Let's get to it. This is really good stuff from Alabama. They just so brutally outcoached us. I would have done this, okay? And I said in the Patreon that I was very concerned that the middle of the LSU offensive line would lose this game for him. It wasn't what lost them this game, but Mabenga and Chester were just downright atrocious. Not really Mabenga's fault as his first start, and we get a double A gap pressure look. This is what I would have done versus a center who's not playing well, is show this and just back out. Right? Because we just could not protect it. They back out, and they're running twist on both sides. And this is actually a really good decision to scat this protection to the right because this is where most of our receivers are. So you should slide to the right. You just got to trust that the left side can pick up this twist. It can't, right? So Paul Mabenga should have seen that this is getting passed off to Will Campbell, and he's got to pick up 34 right here. He can't do it. He's too late, and Garrett Nussmeier is under heavy pressure. And if he had time, he probably has more time to throw this football to Caden Durham. But because he threw that pick last week on a check down, he's going to be very reluctant to do something like that. But right off the jump, we lose a big yardage, or about 4 or 5 yards, and we just got to throw the football away. All right, so you'll see that Garrett Nussmeier checks into a different play here because this is a weird formation. This is the big Caden Durham run. So right here, Mason Taylor is not an eligible receiver, and we have trips to the right. He's not eligible because we don't have a receiver here to the left. And you'll see that Garrett actually checks into this pistol outside zone play. Really good stuff. And the only reason this play didn't go for a touchdown is because we've really struggled to block this play. Okay, we should have had a big one versus UCLA, but Emory Jones missed his block. We're running outside zone to the right at a pistol. Okay, I love doing this. The only downside, though, of having trips to the right and a tight end right here is the backside corner can get right here and chase anything down to the right, and that's what eventually cost us this touchdown. But the blocking here is really good. Mason Taylor, go to patreon.com. You can see the full grades. He was by far my highest graded player. Because we've had trouble making this block on outside zone, we decided to bring Mason Taylor over to help out, and that's exactly what he does. See how he pushes to help Emory Jones get his head across here? It's really good stuff. And then Mason makes the big block right here, and we got perfect blocking out here as well. So that's a good job by Joe Sloan. We've been trying this outside zone with pistol all game long or all season long, and part of the problem is we needed to run to the right side because Mabenga is just not ready for this type of game. So that's a really good job right there by LSU to get into this spot, and you'll see that the only guy who's able to make this tackle here is the backside corner because there wasn't a receiver on that side that was holding him. So, look, it's just that simple. The early difference in this game is that Alabama forced us to convert in the red zone, and we were not able to make them convert in the red zone. That's why these touchdown-saving tackles are so big. I've been watching football for a long time. I can't remember a red zone play being this tipped off. Okay, play action fake. Damani Jackson's waiting for the split zone, right? Vanderbilt scored on a play just like this. Okay, this was actually a play that we suggested in our mid-week film study, and Alabama was ready for it. Okay, and you see we're trying to get Pimpton in the flat. We decided to not release Mason Taylor here. They were just ready for this. That's just them being really well coached. And Garrett has to throw it away. You know, they were just sitting on this play. Nothing is ever being completed there. Okay, now, would you have liked to have seen this ball be a little bit more catchable and maybe Trey'Dez Green could make a play on it right here in the back of the end zone? Maybe so, but, you know, the ball drifted and he couldn't get in there. All right, 2nd and goal, and we decide to get sexy. So we call a timeout. We bring in a heavy personnel. I guarantee you, the lowest ranked plays during the Brian Kelly era is when we bring in an extra blocking tight end. We are so bad on these kinds of plays. So what we decide to do is overload the line of scrimmage, right? The Commanders have done a lot of this with Jaden. So we take Emory Jones from right tackle to the left side tight end, and we overload this side. The problem is well, once again, it's these two. Okay, once again, these are both year 2 players. I'm not piling on them here, but we're trying to run counter. We are the worst counter blocking team I have ever seen in my life. The timing of this is a little bit off. You'll see that Mason kind of had to stop because the snap timing wasn't there. That kind of gives away that we're also running a counter. You can also kind of see it. Notice Miles Frazier is a little bit further behind. So this is pretty obvious we're running a pull here to the left. Okay, now, watch what happens. This is an easy block for DJ Chester, and he gets driven back into the pullers, okay? So Mason Taylor's got to miss him, and look at that. How can you run when your center's getting blown back like that? Then you got Paul Mabenga here. He actually does pretty well here. That's actually really good. The next thing here is after the timeout, I would have put Caden Durham back in the game because I think Caden could have pressed and bounced here a little bit quicker. The other thing is, I don't know why we have not run a single pull read with Garrett at all, right? If you do a pull, you're at least stretching them out just a little bit, but look at all this trash here. Josh should have bounced this a little bit quicker, in my opinion, and he just couldn't. But, I mean, the play was just dead from the start. I mean, it's just really, really, really bad offense and a lack of talent up the middle. Let's call a spade a spade. You need guys to step up to win this game. And last year versus Alabama, a lot of our receivers fell short outside of Malik. And here, Garrett in a good pocket. This is good protection. Once again, it's just good. It's good protection. We'll take this all day, every day. Garrett has a chance to throw this football here to Kyron. Hits him right in the hands. You got to bring it in. I mean, it's just no other way around it. You're the alpha. You got to bring it in. All right, 3rd and 3. You have a chance here to make a play, Jordan Gilbert, and you don't, okay? So we do a really good job sealing this to the end. And honestly, I don't even know if this was a zone read pull. You can see that this choreography back here is not really that good. This is really good stuff right here from number 4, Braden Swinson, who had the mistake early. And that's just good. That's as good as you'll see it. So he's peeking, and then he goes to the outside to bounce it. So we're doing a good job flattening this, okay? So now we just need a safety, and it was funny. Jamal Adams was the absolute freaking best at this. He was in the building last night. Good to have the Prez back. You have a chance here, Jordan Gilbert, to fly in here while Jalen Milroe is going horizontally. This is a really good job right here by Greg Penn to stretch this. We just need a safety to come in here and make it. And it's a very difficult play, but he's just slow getting out here to make this play. You still have a chance, and he just runs you over, right? And they're probably punting in that spot. So guess what Alabama says? All right, if you're going to do this, we're just going to keep pulling it, okay? And well, they do the same thing. It's practically the same thing. We're just slow to get out here to defend it. And guess what? Jordan Gilbert still doesn't make the tackle. He made a miss, okay? All right, they had a little comeback screen to get down here to this 3rd and 5. I have no idea what the hell Blake Baker was doing over 2 weeks. What did we say for 2 weeks? 2 weeks, not only here, said it on AYS, and go back and look. I said Jalen Milroe's favorite thing to do in big games is throw to Jam Miller. Okay? It is his favorite thing to do. And their favorite thing is 2 things. They like to either run a wheel or they like to run an angle route. okay, if we're in zone coverage and there is a corner right here, okay, the wheel is covered, all right, or just a swing. So if you're with Weeks in this spot, the one thing we don't want, the only place we really don't want to get beat is over the middle on an angle route. We do not want to. And the last time Alabama was here, they crushed us with this in 2022. That is so damn easy. Why? 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 Why would you do this? It happened all game. It happened all game. Why would we give up the angle route, the most basic route? Every freaking person that's ever played Madden or any football video game knows that this is a play, all right? Every single person that's ever picked up a damn joystick knows that you run this play if you're getting your ass kicked. Crazy, absolutely crazy, and they would eventually score. All right, let's pick it up to the next offensive drive. This is a 2nd and medium, and y'all, we cannot run counter. We need to stop. We need to stop. We just can't do it, okay? We don't have the fulcrum at left guard to run counter. You can see he's just getting blown right into the hole, okay? Second thing is it's hard to run counter when there really is no misdirection pull read to the backside. This is basically what I showed you this play over and over versus A&M, where the ends are just able to cross face. Sometimes you have to pull. Your quarterback just pulling it once. Just do it once to at least have it in the back of their mind that we could do it. All right, 3rd and 4. Really bad GARRETT NUSSMEIER rep here. But, you know, there's just so much pressure on him to make play after play after play. You know, Kyron already had that drop, and this is not good. The first thing here is we don't need this throw to be made. The read is actually good, okay? You're running a smash concept here or a variation of it, deep out and an out here. Okay, so you're reading this cloud corner, and he decides to go to Kyron, which is fine. The ball needs to be on the money, though. And you'll see that it's not. Very clearly, it's not. It's a little bit of a high ball right here. And, well, it's not complete, as you clearly can see. A perfect throw gets this done, but he sailed it. It's a really, really bad throw, okay? But if you're Garrett, let's simplify this, okay? If we can get some of the yards, we could go for it on 4th and short. But we motion here, and by the motion, it does let Garrett know that this is a zone indicator. So that's why I decided to throw this, because he knew there would be a cloud corner here. But, you know, in this spot, you got a really good pocket. You can work to Aaron Anderson, right? Alabama's had some issues guarding the intermediate stuff. This is also a first down, an easy first down. Also in this situation, with them sitting back in the zone, a run is an easy first down. And I would have probably told Garrett going into the game, hey, if it's raining, QB run game is a lot more valuable because you're just going to have more drops, more balls sailing on you because you're just not used to throwing in the rain. So, yeah, the weather definitely affected LSU's offense. But this, if you're throwing it, it's got to be made, okay? There was 3 different options that could have picked up a first down there, and Garrett just absolutely sucked it all up. All right, we get to the punt. And, man, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the punter. But we elect to make a punter change to Oschendorf. Okay. You know, obviously returns were a factor in this game. It wasn't as big of a factor as we thought. But, you know, this is part of the problem. All right. Our best player on defense is on our punt team. Okay. He can't make the play. It's a tough play. He probably is never making this play. But this is Ryan Williams. Okay. Elite athlete. And you have a chance to make a play here. Can't do it. Kylan Jackson, not ready for it. Javian Toviano has a chance to make a play here. Doesn't even touch him. Major Burns has a chance to make a play here. Can't do it, okay? So, special teams, we just didn't have enough playmakers. We don't have enough dudes on defense, and it's a nice return. It's 3rd and 9, and for brevity, I'm not going to show you the Ryan Williams deep miss, okay? He missed Ryan Williams for walk-in touchdowns. Zy Alexander got burned horribly, and Zy Alexander had a bad night as well. So, we got a little lucky that it started raining really hard when Ryan Williams dropped the pass. So I think if the weather was just clean, I mean, it's really started crapping. He's probably making that catch. Either way, we get bailed out. It's 3rd and 9. What the hell are we doing defensively? What are we doing? Okay? We are leaving the middle of the field wide open. We are down by 11. We really need to be aggressive and try and force a punt. Okay, but what do? Well, we try and do a blitz, but once again, we leave the middle of the field open, and we trust Devon Keys, a true freshman, versus Jam Miller. And what do? We give up the angle route again. And the weird thing about it was the pressure actually worked. There's just no reason to have our guys this deep. There really isn't. They've not shown to complete a deep pass yet. They just missed one a minute ago, okay? This should never be the case. And, you know, this was on tape versus South Carolina at the end of that game. Just giving up soft stuff over the middle. It's just bad process. It really, really, really is. And, man, I hated that. Once again, what the hell is LSU doing? There are so many. Okay, so the very next play, this ends up being just a 6-7 yard run, but I don't understand what the hell LSU's doing. I mean, there have been so many instances where our DBs are just standing next to each other. Like, we're so flat-footed. Next thing, your gap is here, and this can get sorted out in a second. We decide with our mic here to just completely take him out of the run fit right here, okay? Why? What is the point of the run fit, okay? To leave this A-gap wide open, okay? Now, what I think should have happened is if we had a decent safety, he could have filled right here, but that's just not going to happen. You know, Parashan is not a defensive tackle. He gets blown back over here, washed up field. You don't want to over-penetrate. What did we talk about earlier? You don't want to over-penetrate these guys. Look at this. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's free yards. Okay? And, you know, they're going to carry our guys for a few extra yards too. I mean, that's LSU football. All right, so the LSU crowd brings it. They force a false start. So the best player in this game, like it was versus Ole Miss, our crowd, they brought it in the pouring rain. Nobody leaves. And guess what? Jalen Milroe, perfect pocket. Guess what? We actually try and force him to make a throw, and they miss another walk-in touchdown. Another walk-in. Crazy stuff. Ty Alexander burned again. All right. So once again, the crowd makes another play. It's loud. They struggle getting the snap off in time. But this is one of the lowest football IQ plays I have ever seen, okay? And I felt Slay Nagel has done a really good job coaching special teams this year, all right? The problem is this is a 52-yard attempt, all right? A 52-yard attempt when we are down 11, okay? So this decision to kick the field goal is very good for us, right? Number one, the likelihood that they make this field goal is very small. In the rain, 4th and 8 from 52 yards out. And even if they do, it's still a 2-possession play. The only thing we don't want to do is have a penalty that gives them a first down, okay? So watch what happens. There's a delay of game penalty, and it looks like they got lucky that it was a delay of game penalty because he ends up missing the kick to the far right. The problem is, let's just say they got this snap off and the field goal was missed. We could have been called for leverage because Savion Jones on a 52-yard, low percentage, in the rain, loud as hell kick decides to go Superman and launch over the players, okay? If you kick or land on them in any way, that is a penalty. But it's not called because it was blown dead, a delay of game penalty. That would have been called for a penalty, or it could have been called for a penalty, and it would have been an automatic first down, okay? So, yes, it looked like Alabama got bailed out because they ended up punting and backing us up. But we got bailed out because we're dumb. We do the dumbest things. There is no reason to try and go Superman. None, okay? And that is on coaching. That is on coaching. You tell every single player on that field goal block, don't try and jump on anyone. Let's just try to see if they can make a 52-yarder in a monsoon. Once again, Mason Taylor was phenomenal in this game. He really, really, really was. And we get a play-action fake. We really need to get something going offensively. And Garrett throws a really good seam ball right here. Protection is really good, okay? Pass pro was fine. That's a good throw right there from Garrett Nussmeier. Bang! Right in stride. God bless America. Good stuff. All right, Funny thing, we saw basically almost every team run this, okay? You have play action fake. Texas had the sexiest version of it. If you want to see my Texas film study, go to Power Hour SEC. Alabama ran this with Ryan Williams. I didn't show it to you. So everybody's doing this tight end reverse motion kind of thing. And honestly, Will Campbell, it's a difficult second-level block. All right? This is ridiculous stuff from Xavier Thomas to make Malachi Moore a really good safety miss, and we're able to get the sideline, okay? Good job. Who is that? That's Shelton Sampson. Good block, man. And it's a first down. All right, play of the game right here from Aaron Anderson. We actually wrote this play up versus South Carolina. We're running flood, okay? So we're flooding this side of the field to get a little chip here from Mason Taylor. He's going to the flat. Chris is running the vertical, and we're running the deep out. And we run flood a lot, okay? It's been a big gainer for us this season. And the corner makes a fantastic play, but a good throw gets this done. We literally, you could see the breakdown for yourself. Versus South Carolina, Garrett missed this for a touchdown, okay? But the problem is this ball is already being thrown to Aaron with a lot of anticipation. So the corner makes a really good read on this. But this throw is still there. It's got to be a really good throw. But he sails Aaron Anderson, and it should have been a pick, and Anderson makes the play. Good stuff. Yeah, so we have a nice little wildcat run with Juwan Johnson to the left. Got called back for an iffy holding on Will Campbell. And, man, Juwan Johnson dropped a big one here. He dropped a big one, okay, because we do block it well. I mean, you just got to catch that. I mean, he's dropped a few of these. And, you know, if you catch this, man, I mean, it's probably not going for a lot, but it's a nice gainer, and it's important to get those yards to make it third and manageable. All right, 3rd and 2, we did a good job dropping or stopping a Kendrick Law jet sweep. And this is what I'm talking about, football IQ, okay? What do we not want to do? We don't want to lose contain versus Jalen Milroe. So this time, this actually is a really good defensive call. I'm anti-dropping our best pass rusher out, but this actually works because we don't want Jalen Milroe to get an easy throw to Jam Miller for a first down, and we also don't want the leaking tight end to be open. We defended well. The problem is Perry Shan goes to the inside. Why? Make him throw from the pocket. Make him throw, okay? Make him throw from the pocket. But no, we allow him to break contain, even though he had all this help over the middle, and it's too late. It's too late, okay? And we obviously, that's nearly impossible for Swinson to make that play right there. Keep him in the pocket, please. It's simple. Honestly, if you take a look right here, if you keep him here, he really has nowhere to go. He has nowhere to go. If he would have just rushed right here and stayed even, he's probably not picking this up, okay? And we're punting, and we're getting a nice, turnover on downs. They're punting the football back to us, but instead we let him run for the first down. What happens when you play too many true freshmen that aren't ready? This happens, okay? Ahmad Bro. Now, once again, I'm not going to ever be too critical of a true freshman or even a year 2 guy. This is simple stuff, though. All right, he had a huge mistake versus South Carolina on this. And we've interviewed Ahmad, bro. He's going to be a really freaking good player. So what we're doing here is we're stunning our DTs to the right. So Dominic McKinley in this A gap is shooting in this B gap. And bro is shooting from this B gap to this A gap, okay? The one thing you cannot do, and guy, he gave up a big one versus South Carolina early, is we need you to sit heavy in this A gap. The one thing you cannot allow to happen is you get turned to this A gap. You got to sit heavy in this A gap. That is the run fit, okay? If you sit heavy in this A gap, the only place he can go is right into Whit Weeks, okay? But what do? You go to the opposite side A gap, and it opens up a gashed hole right here, okay? And this is what happens when you don't do your job. Zone read, it's simple. You just got to do your job. You're just giving the game away when you do this. That's it. It's middle school stuff. It's middle school stuff, okay? All right, get bailed out by a bad Alabama play call on 4th down. And they just cram everybody in take the game out of Milroe's hands, and Braden Switzer makes an unreal play right there, and that we just make plays. Whit Weeks, Braden Switzer making plays, and we're able to get the football back. All right, and then Nuss goes full, and then we get to here. GARRETT NUSSMEIER goes full Nuss, and I don't know. I don't know what else I need to say about the DJ Chester situation. It's like I will tell you this. It is more amazing that we were still able to beat Ole Miss in South Carolina with how poorly our center play has been. Okay, so I know it's messed up because the rain kind of clogs this image, but this is really good design by Alabama. So remember, they had been showing the double A gap look. This time they actually do bring pressure. He drops out, and the pressure is coming from here, and this is probably one of the easier blocks a center could make, okay? So once it is seen that this in is blocked out and this defensive tackle shoots over here, we have this under control. So look to see if there is a potential blitzer coming from this far back, okay? Just peek. All you got to do is peek, peek, peek. And he's still looking to the left. And he doesn't even have the feel. He doesn't even have the football feel to even see that he's right here, okay? What is GARRETT NUSSMEIER supposed to do here? Well, he can't do anything other than do this twirling thing, and this move works only if the guy is closer to you. If you spin this way, it allows him to redirect, okay? So, number one, this is on Chester. Number two, I still don't know why Joe Sloan is still running all verts, okay? We cannot run verts, okay? We just cannot, for the life of us, run verticals, all right? It's stupid. It's downright stupid. Third thing, okay? Garrett, please quit rolling out to the left and right. Please, please, please stop, okay? Step up, all right? Step and move away, and then look, you're off and running. Or you can hit your check down, okay? Rolling out to the left is not always the right thing to do, especially if it's across your body like that. You're running against, your arm, right? So, honestly, it wasn't all verts. We're running dagger over here. It's my fault, okay? And this would have been open to Aaron if we had a decent center to pick up the blitzer coming all the way from Ruston right up the gut. Okay, but we have a turnover here, and it's just a disaster. It's a mess. It's a mess. Okay, you can't win consistently in the SEC when you can't protect and turn the football over like that. And Caden Durham was open for a check down if we had decent protection once again. Now, I am shocked that we could not adjust to this play. I also don't understand why we decided to have our end play in a 4-eye. Multiple times here, okay? I understand guarding your B-gaps and all that stuff, but remember, because they had that screen, because they had those quick screens, just because they completed one, it drew our backer wider and wider and wider to the outside. No contain. This is just such horrible defensive alignment. And once again, what did I say all week on Patreon? What did I say? No over-penetration. That's what Alabama wants you to do. They want you to bring a lot of pressure and shoot upfield and not make plays. This is why I was begging Blake Baker and the Alabama team, or the LSU defense, to not do this. Let's not over-penetrate. That's how we lost this game last year, okay? You can't always be a havoc defense, especially versus guys that can destroy you with your legs, okay? And we actually got bailed out here that instead of still going vertical here, Milroe decided to cut this back. If he keeps going vertical, I'm not sure if he's not scoring because Alexander got thrown all the way to Ponchatoula. It's a problem. It is a major, major, major problem. Good hustle by Pearshan to catch it from behind. It's the same thing here, okay? This is the same exact play. So look to the left, get our players who have no feel for the game to think that it's a screen. Just as they completed it one time doesn't mean they're going to do it again. And once again, look at them just washing our guys out of the play. Just completely washing them out. Look, we're not going to make plays if we have guys running into each other, running directly into each other. Watch this. Bang. Not good. Not good. Not good. Not good. And then just right up the gut. I mean, look at this. 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 All right, y'all. It's starting to become bad. And once again, nothing against this young man. Absolutely, positively nothing against him. The offense cannot function with this. It just can't, okay? We're trying to run counter, all right? We're pulling our guys to the right. Now, first thing is, I don't know if we're tipping off our counter run schemes. Once again, double A gap look. But either way, DJ Chester has to get at least a piece, all right? Your job, this is the simplest block of any up front. You've got to get a down block and just get across here. We, honestly, when you fire off, all we need you to do is just dive in this direction to stop 23 some so we could potentially pull and get a run to start this drive. But no, you lean and you're falling down. What? How? This is negligence. This is a disservice to everybody on the team, okay? Is there a face mask right here? Yes, there is, okay? But that's not the point, all right? Yes, this should have been a face mask. This should have been 15 yards. It's a big miss right there, but we don't deserve the breaks. All right, so after that, we blow the block, and it's time to get up there and run another play. It's the gosh darn 2-minute drill. It's the gosh darn 2-minute drill, okay? Why are we not hurrying up and running a play? We're down by 15. We really need to score. But no, we let it go down to the 2-minute warning, okay? Big problem there. Big problem. Get a nice little check down to Josh Williams, and then we get a nice play to Mason Taylor. So we got a decent 2-minute drive going. Double A gap look. They back out again. There's a lot of pressure. This was the blueprint. Step up and run. Finally, Garrett Nussmeier decides to do it. Okay? You know, the linebacker runs with Josh Williams. So just take these yards. It's free yards, easy, non-turnover worthy play yards. Beautiful. All right, so we had a screen to C.J. Daniels. We pick up a first down. Then we have a false start penalty because DJ Chester flinched. So we have to lose 5 yards. And it's a 10-second runoff because LSU elected to not burn their final timeout, which was the right thing to do. All right, I'm so sick and tired of Joe Sloan running this play. I'm so sick of it. This twist around here with Mason, it never works. It never, ever works. They're sitting and waiting on it. They're like, wait, why in the hell are they working a play that doesn't even work? Look at these route concepts, okay? We got two guys in the same space. Got a check down and a shallow drag. It's just bad offensive theory. So we throw a ball up to Kyron, and it's a mess. All right, so it's second and new roads here. And the penalty is huge because we need to gain some yards to make it a manageable field goal, right? So we have to take a check down, and it's good football, right? I would prefer it to go to Aaron. I'm fine with throwing it here. And we just got to pick up some yards to make it a manageable third. And honestly, we're stopped short, okay? And there you go. We burn our final timeout. All right, so it's 3rd and 11, and Alabama does the right thing, okay? This is what cost us in the Max Johnson game versus Alabama a few years ago. I think that was the 2021 game in Tuscaloosa, okay? So they crowd the line of scrimmage, and we decide to check into a quick screen here to the right. I hate this play call, all right? This is them out-scheming us, out-coaching us, because they know we like to run this quick little screen to the right. So watch what happens. This is a zero blitz call, but there is a check for Malachi Moore to run with the running back because he has man coverage responsibilities, and we miss the block here, okay? Actually, we get the block, but it was thrown behind Caden Durham, and he loses his footing. But either way, we would have been stopped short, all right? Now, in this spot, there are still 25 seconds to solve this kind of weird situation. So we can't kick a field goal here. It's 4th and 11. They have no timeouts left. So you or somebody on this sideline, there's millions of dollars of coaches, analysts on this sidelines, needs to tell Brian Kelly, and the entire offensive coaching staff were running a Hail Mary. All right? What should have been relayed during the timeout is if we don't pick up any yards or we don't get closer to a field goal, we're going for a Hail Mary. First problem, true freshman, okay? C.J. Daniels, year 5 player. Mason Taylor, year 3 player. This is a sign of bad coaching right here. Right here. Everyone pay attention. Pay attention. Why, in this situation, even if we're stopped short, run to the damn official and give him the ball so we can hurry up and run the next play, whether we're trying to kick a field goal or not, okay? This should even, you shouldn't even be thinking in this spot. We should be rushing, going quickly. There's 23 seconds left. Is Les Miles the coach of this football team? Is this 2006? What the hell? What the hell? I'm about to go get my vintage iPod out. I'm about to go get it out. Why are we not rushing? Rushing! The umpire's trying to help us. He's trying to help us. Okay? And tick, 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 tick. So, scream. The defense can know your play. Scream! Scream! Hail Mary! Hail Mary! We're down by 15. What are we doing? What are we doing? Coach, do something. Do something. Don't look to blame somebody else. Don't look to blame somebody else. Hail Mary. But no, we wither. We wither. We give up. What are we doing? What are we doing? $10 million a year. $10 million a year. Hail Mary. Hail Mary. They can't call a timeout. She's texting a guy that's not even right for her. Look at the other girl looking at her like, oh, God, here she is texting Fletcher again. And my guy's trying to go to Fred's. He's yawning. What's going on? We're just looking around. Looking around. Take the ball to the official. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Let's go. Run a play. But no. Hail Mary. Hail Mary. They have no timeouts. What are we doing? What are we doing? Boo! Y'all should be booing. Booing. It's unacceptable. It is unacceptable. It is so unacceptable. It is so unacceptable. All right, so, yeah, I was pretty fired up just then. It is one of the many low football IQ things that we've done. It's coaching, it's players, it's all of it. We can talk about the lack of talent all we want, but the football IQ stuff is stuff that you can control. Now, once again, what do we bring up? First play of the game, can't block the twist stunt, so we decide to just man-to-man it, and that's really tough to do. Okay, so Will's got to stay with him all the way. Mabenga's got to come around. You can't really man-to-man twist stunts. You really can't. Garrett does a good job feeling this out, and he's trying to get some room here to throw it. He can't, so he has to spin out, and he does a good job making something out of nothing here, and we pick up a first down. So, look, Garrett did a really good job of not forcing this up and just picking up these first down yards. Once again, I will happily lend my services for free, pro bono, to be the game management coach, okay, if it is necessary. All right, so fourth down. This is actually a really creative way to run a QB sneak. Gary did a good job getting a mesh concept to Aaron Anderson, and Aaron with the ridiculous play to make this fourth down manageable. This is really good coaching right here from Joe Sloan. We're still trying to act like we don't know the play, and it's an easy first down. Really, really, really good coaching, and we needed it because it wasn't a clean fourth down sneak there, but we'll take it. All right. It's going to sound like a crazy term, but our choreography is terrible. And by choreography, I mean, like you would think with a dancer, right? We just, when it comes to ball fakes, guard centers, all this stuff, this is a very clunky way, and it's almost a nasty fumble here with Caleb Jackson. But it's a good design, a little jet sweep to freeze everyone. And Xavion had a really good game. He really, really, really did, and I'm really excited about his future with LSU. This needs to be a little cleaner, though. You see, he steps out, and that cost us probably 3 or 4 yards. So we get to this fourth and medium, and we're running mesh again. And this is a good job by Garrett, all right? So for running mesh, if you have a hook behind it, that's where you want to throw it versus zone, the little hook over the middle. So Garrett does a really good job feeling out this pocket. He sees that the contain right here is broken, so we're running to the right side, and we eventually do find Mason over the middle. And once again, Mason had a phenomenal game. Good stuff. All right, so some questionable quarterbacking right here from Garrett, okay? I know he's scared to throw this out now because it's been picked off like the A&M game. That should have been thrown right there, but he decides to extend the play, and thankfully he does because we get a good deep pass right here. Good job, 2 hands on the football. You know, Brian Kelly talked about that in the postgame, and he throws a really, really, really tight spiral here to Kyron to the opposite side. And once again, they made the touchdown-saving tackles, and we didn't. Okay, so now we have to convert in the red zone. Yeah, I think on this run in particular, Caden scoring, okay? Because this is a clear bounce read, okay? And Caden has a little bit more juice to bounce out of it. This isn't the best rep for Mason Taylor, but this cross-face block, as we learned versus A&M, is really difficult, okay? Also, Mason has played every single snap of this game, which is another coaching mishap right there. I don't like my tight ends playing every snap of a game, okay? This should have been a bounce. This should have been a bounce, okay? And he's just a little late bouncing it, okay? There's been a few of these with Josh this year, and he gets stopped. So now we get to the GARRETT NUSSMEIER interception, and honestly, first off, I like the design from Joe Sloan. Georgia had a lot of success running these fake little pitches into the boundary, and one thing I will say is, in particular in the red zone, they did a really good job just getting over the top of basically everything. They know that we like to run quick things into the flats, obviously. And look, if we eventually throw this to Josh, he's probably scoring. Why did Garrett throw what looks to be such a bad pick? All right. The issue here is we're running an in-breaker here with 14 Trades Green. We're running an in-breaker here from C.J. Daniels. Part of the problem is CJ beats the corner so bad that Garrett thinks this is going to be a score, okay? But what you have to know as a quarterback, if you're in the red zone and you're running double slants, it's tough when there is a zone linebacker underneath. So this linebacker does a good job slowing down Trades Green and then getting in this window. I see what Garrett was seeing, okay? If you were a QB, you're probably thinking that this is open, but the linebacker honestly made a really good play. It still shouldn't be thrown. You have to be extra cautious in this situation, okay? Now, the next thing is, would this check down to Josh Williams have scored? It would have been bang, bang. It probably is, okay, if you throw this to Josh. And this is one thing you have to know if you're Garrett in this spot, okay? If they are sitting back on the goal line, in particular on second down. It's different if it's fourth down and we got to get this bad boy in the end zone. All right? If they're sitting back, there's a lot of extra value in hitting the check down or just running it yourself. Okay? Jaden in this situation, or even Joe in this situation, is running if you give them this. Okay? Now, that's a bad throw, and if you're going to throw it, it really needs to be top shelf. It's got to be thrown really high. That's a good single-digit play right there, though. Lawson's a good player. Give him credit. But another thing, okay, and once again, this is on Garrett. I'm not taking anything away from Garrett, okay? But, you know, I have no idea how DJ Chester got thrown down here, okay? In this situation, if your center is not knocking this DT all the way to West Monroe in this situation, you need to get a new center, okay? For those that don't know, as an offensive lineman, and Cole Kubelik's a great follow when it comes to this, if a DT is engaged with the guard, you have full freedom to come and just knock this guy out. You do, okay? But watch what happens. He's got a blindside hit, and he gets thrown to the ground. All right? So the problem here, let's just say Garrett decided to tuck and run. He probably scores, but he's probably getting sacked or brought down right here. That cost us a touchdown if Garrett had actually decided to tuck and run. Okay? So it's a calamity of errors. It's a big problem, and it's a pick. Okay? All right, 3rd and 8. Finally, we bring that Arkansas play back. Okay? It's not 3 guys lined up directly behind each other, but it's something. We're bringing a lot more speed. Notice how we have both these backers as faster contained defenders, and it works. This play has worked twice now where we're bringing some pressure, but these guys pinch in, and our new contained guys are linebackers, okay? Really good stuff, but Savion Jones, a rough night all around. Face mask penalty when he didn't need to. I understand it's tough, but, man, just don't swing your hand up there. I mean, it's just that simple. But it was inadvertent. Then the water bottles flew. The water bottles being thrown is a bad look, but I understand LSU fans also being frustrated in this spot. All right, so we move ahead to this 3rd and 4, and they had a Ryan Williams reverse that went for a gazillion yards because, of course, it did. And honestly here, this is better compared to some of the others, okay? It honestly is better. The problem is you have to stay under control. You just do. And in this spot, Braden Swinson, who overall was decent in this game, he gets thrown to the ground, okay? This is what you cannot let happen in the SEC. We have 2 guys fall down. When you lose your feet in the SEC, it is going to get you killed, okay? Because when you're on the ground, you can't make the tackle. 2 guys fall down. Honestly, the gap responsibility on this is better. It honestly is better, okay? He has contained. Your job is to see gap, and Jalen Milroe's just reading this with like a lead blocker being the running back here. And now you have Whitweeks trying to climb over the top of this to make this play. That's actually fine, but because Swinson's on the ground and our DT's on the ground, it just, you see how that chasm just opens? He's able to cut through there, and it's a touchdown. Once again, we have a chance to make a touchdown saver, but, I mean, did you really think Major Burns is going to actually, for once in his life, show some hustle? But no, he's going to make a business decision, like he did last year in this game, like Sage Ryan did in this game last year. Business decisions with the season on the line with 2 losses? At least you didn't get... Look, how is your jersey not even dirty? That's the thing. Why are our jerseys not dirty? The problem is his isn't either. It's ass. It is straight dookie water. All right, 1st and 10. Guess what? We're going to try and run counter, fake reverse, and guess what? Miles Frazier, 2nd level. Everything here is actually blocked fine, but watch Miles Frazier just get thrown to the side. He has a key 2nd level block here on Jahad Campbell, and he terrorizes this run fit. I mean, that's just nasty. This dude is a freaking ball player. 11. Okay? Look at this. Okay? Patty cake, patty cake, patty cake. That's just brutal. That's absolutely brutal. Form tackle. I mean, my goodness gracious. Ugh. We had some things go against us. So we had a nice Kyron completion, and then we had one where his foot was barely out of bounds. It still looked kind of weird. But then we get to this 3rd and 9, and LSU had done a really good job of 3rd and mediums and plus territory. But, in this spot, this is just bad coaching and just bad execution yet again. So we have 2 downs to pick this up. But what do? We run all verts. Why? I even tweeted this out. We are not an all-vertical team. It is not something that works. It really does not work for whatever reason. And part of why all verts does not work, okay, we had a full tweet on this 2 weeks ago after the A&M game, is your center gets driven back into the quarterback, and we haven't really been that good of a deep throwing team anyway. We don't, even though we're down by a gazillion, and it's, 3rd and Winfield here, it's not something that you need to pick up all the yards, okay? First thing here is this is really poor quarterbacking from Garrett. He's looking to the right, and we should be throwing this football to Aaron Anderson, especially with the safety being on the number here. And maybe Aaron was throwing a fade and he actually turned this into a post. But Garrett still should have been able to throw this. I'm sorry. He still should have been able to throw it. Okay, but he elects not to because DJ Chester is in his lap. I mean, I could see why Garrett doesn't want to throw this, but you can't operate an offense when the center is in your lap. Okay, so he does the stupid spin thing. This was a South Carolina sack all over again. This is a huge one to Aaron that we miss. We take a sack here, and we have to punt. Okay, first off, to call Verts to not, we could pick up a medium amount of yardage and then go for it on fourth, but now we have to punt. It's stupid play calling, stupid. So Alabama decides to really toy with Major Burns here. They are running mesh with the slowest two players that they could find on the entire roster. Okay, these guys run 5.5s. All right. To the blocking tight end, and Dupree's a decent receiver. Okay, Major Burns, can you run down and make a play? I want you in the chat right now if you're watching live. Can Major Burns run him down and make a play? Do you think he's going to make this play? Do you think it's going to happen? Do you think it's... Oh, no. I mean, it's like a Hallmark movie. You know the ending. Do you think Sage Ryan's making the play? He actually didn't. Okay, if this other guy wasn't here, he's probably picking up a few extra yards. It's so sad. It's so sad. Okay? All right. First play of the fourth quarter. We come out of a timeout, and this happens. Okay? Y'all, what are we doing with our run fits? First off, you can go back, and I know this is anecdotal. I'll go back and do this in the offseason. This single play has been the worst of the Brian Kelly era. Okay, first play of the fourth quarter. Okay, last year, first play of the fourth quarter was a Jane Daniels interception that wasn't his fault. The year before, first play of the fourth quarter was a huge Jahmyr Gibbs run. And now we get to here. All right, Florida State was a big interception with Jaden Daniels in the fourth quarter as well. I think that was last year. So, we have a communication issue. This is a true freshman. We need to help him out. So he's having to make the call here, and we have an exotic formation here where Whit Weeks is here and then whatever, okay? So we're trying to check to see who's going to pick up Jam Miller. So we decide to deoccupy our linebacker, and now we're just blitzing a safety in here. I don't know why, and not every gap is filled, okay? Once again, it's the same thing. Two guys in the same gap. This is Matt House basically all over again. So Whit Weeks, this is your gap. Your job is to contain guy. Blitzer's just blitzing in here. And guess what? We got three guys in the same gap, including our safety, whose job it is to make the touchdown saver. But we're blitzing him for some reason, just for the sake of it. I hate defensive schemes that are exotic for the sake of being exotic. Okay? So we run three players out of the play. And now, it's just simple runs, okay? Now, did we not learn our lesson versus South Carolina? Sage Ryan cannot make the touchdown-saving tackle. It is virtually impossible for him to do it. He cannot do it. So, as our last line of defense, Sage Ryan says, hey, I'm going to run up here and take the worst angle of all time, okay? The worst. The LSU defense is like my daggum barbershop. Shout out Jason Allen's Barber College. Walk-ins are welcome. Why? So many walk-in touchdowns this year. It's insane. All right, so we get to another GARRETT NUSSMEIER turnover. We're running Hoss Juke. There's a fourth down stop mixed in there. It's so painful. I don't know how many more plays we could break down. We actually want to throw this football here to Aaron, but we decide to throw an interception. I understand CJ slipped, but I don't know. I really don't know what to think. And then, of course, easy little run. Do you think Sage Ryan's going to keep backside contain here? No, he's just going to run over here for no reason whatsoever. I mean, God, dude. I mean, there was no reason for him to even be looking over there. I truly do think the reason why he is just sprinting over here, unless for some reason Javian Toviano's the contained guy or supposed to be the contained guy over here, I really do think part of the reason why he's sprinting over here is so he doesn't have to hit somebody. I swear, it would make no sense why he would be over there or why we don't have a contained guy. I mean, it makes, I don't know. I really, really, really don't know. But it is what it is at this point, okay? Now, of course, we are going to wrap this thing up with another bad Brian Kelly coaching decision. Now, I have a few really fun things. You've seen it in the top right corner of the video. Please, if it is in your heart's desire, drop a Venmo, Cash App donation. It takes a while to cut these things, and my life has gotten busier with the NFL channel. So let me know what you guys think down below. Now, on Patreon, okay, there was a lot of this on the sideline looking at each other. I'm sorry. We talked about on Patreon some of the basic coaching things you have got to let your team know, all right? It's honestly basic coaching stuff. I left the dumbest thing, even dumber than the end of the first half situation, okay? If you want to know more about football, it's basic football IQ, but a lot of teams make this mistake. It is down below, and guess what? It's free for the next 24 hours. So if you're an LSU, if you work at LSU and you want to know this thing that you continue screwing up, it is down below, okay? Now, Kyron Lacy makes a very good touchdown catch here to wrap this thing on up. Good for Kyron stats. But it was so dumb to even have Garrett at the end of this game. He was limp at the end of this because he took a bad hit. Why is Ricky Collins not in? It's a blowout. Why are all our starters still in? Okay? It's stupid. It's another stupid coaching decision that Brian Kelly made. Okay? I like Brian Kelly, as I do everyone else on this team. But the simple truth is this was the worst, and I mean worst coached game ever at LSU. And yes, this will sound like hyperbole, but this is worse than the end of the Orgeron tenure, and this is worse at the end of the Les Miles tenure because they didn't know any better. Okay, they were so far gone. In the words of Dr. Umar, they were so far gone that, you know, we just kind of accepted that they were not who they once were. Okay, so that's one thing. The other, though, is Brian Kelly's supposed to be the smart guy. When we hired him, we were like, okay, the press conferences are good. He's a lot better between the headsets. He's in the College Football Hall of Fame. Most would consider him to be a top 5 coach in all of college football, okay? But the bottom line is LSU has gotten blown out way too many times in this 3-year tenure. And on top of that, we are so poorly prepared in first halves in particular in so many different games. And I had this tweet. It's made its rounds. It's not me poo-pooing on this season because I am happy we found the result versus Ole Miss in South Carolina. But, yo, we were so lucky to win that game. Both of them. So lucky. If you were to ask any neutral observer, honestly, most neutral observers say Ole Miss was better than us in that game. And South Carolina was better than us, but we had some lucky breaks, some clutch Garrett Nussmeier plays and defensive stops. But, look, this was such a just trashy game from so many different levels. And honestly, the fact that you had 2 weeks to prepare and Jalen Milroe was able to run all over you, in the rain, much less, we didn't make him have to throw him when he actually tried to throw to wide open guys that couldn't complete it. It is downright nefarious that the exact same thing that happened in last year's game happened in this year's game. The exact same thing. So this idea that you're telling us, hey, you would think, and we played the clip at the beginning, you would think that, now let me try to find the words he said. You would think that this team didn't have 2 weeks to prepare. What were they doing the whole time? Yeah, it looked like that, but Brian Kelly has given us the same press conference 3 times this season. It's unacceptable. It is unacceptable. So we'll get to Garrett Nussmeier and more BK things and what to make of the season because it is over. We're not going to make the playoff, nor do we deserve to make the playoff. Let's start with the defensive side of things. Rough night for Savion Jones, even though overall he's been solid this year. Swinson made some good plays, but overall, we just cannot stop zone reads, and we're just not good enough in terms of our run fits. Look, this is one thing that we'll discuss throughout the week on our live streams. Don't forget Tuesdays, Thursdays, Wednesdays, 8:15, 6 p.m., 5 p.m. You guys know the schedule. Pre-game, halftime, post-game shows, all the good stuff. But structurally, we need to spend more money in the portal to get better defensive players, okay? A lot of these guys that were just kind of scraps, they've done good things. Don't get it twisted. But we just didn't have enough juice. The defensive game plan was terrible in and of itself. But we're just not deep enough, okay? You could just kind of tell by the snap counts that we're not deep enough. So the fact that we had so many players play the maximum amount of snaps is unacceptable. And the same thing is true for the offensive side of the football, where Mason Taylor played every snap. Y'all, no tight end should play every snap. None. It is too exhausting of a position. I sometimes think not every offensive lineman should play every snap. And then we get to this. The LSU offensive line has drastically underperformed. Our two best players, our offensive tackles, both had big but somewhat questionable holding calls in this game, whatever the case may be. But the middle of this LSU offensive line, the fact that we have not made any changes and we have rolled this out, and 2 weeks ago after the A&M game, I said, hey, LSU, even though there is the injury to Garrett Dellinger, who's been, for the most part, pretty solid this year, I don't think they should roll out DJ Chester at center anymore this year, and this was his worst game on the season, which is the answer to our question at the beginning of this live stream. Which LSU player is last in all of college football at his position? It is DJ Chester. Of players who played at least 200 snaps, DJ Chester is 142nd out of 143 centers in college football. Let me repeat that. There have been 143 centers that have played 200 or more snaps. DJ Chester is 142nd out of 143, and the last place guy, I think, plays at Akron, okay? Y'all, it is nothing against DJ Chester. He's just not a center. He's a very talented player. He's just not a center. He's probably better served as a guard, but it's just not it. And the fact that they did not try anything else when this tape has been this poor. Now, this one was, in particular, bad, but I released a Patreon podcast earlier this week where I was like, I just don't think we can win this game with him at center. I think we can work around it. The fact that we won Ole Miss when there was a lot of this in that tape as well is crazy. And once again, Miles Frazier hadn't played his best. The rest of the offensive line has not played their best. But offensive line, to me, the way I view it, is a weak link position, right? If your weakest link is really, really, really bad, it's an issue. And I do think out of any of the 5 offensive line positions, the worst one to be really, really, really bad is your center. I think that's the hardest one to overcome because you're just always in the lap of the quarterback, and it's A-gap pressure, right? If a center gets beat, more often than not, he is giving up A-gap pressure unless he's pulling, right? So it's a massive issue, and I think LSU needs to make a change. It's been that bad. And I know the snaps have been very accurate, right? That's half the battle, finding someone that can actually do it and then hold up. But he's not holding up at all. It is paper mache at this point, okay? So I don't think we can work around it anymore because teams are starting to see it. They're just going to double mug us, and we're not going to be able to work around it, okay? And that goes into personnel. Brad Davis, if I was Brad Davis, I would have stuck my feet into the mud and said, hey, we've got to make a change. But they decided to roll it again, and I get it with already one guy out and Tyree Adams also being out, Dellinger and Adams. I get it. But still, I think rotation-wise, we're a little off. Once again, I'd give Mason Taylor a rest. I mean, he's been so phenomenal for us this year. He was by far our best offensive player in my estimation. But, man, our red zone offense is bad. And then, the receivers, wasn't the best day for them. But, it was a rainy day, weird day. It gets back to GARRETT NUSSMEIER. This was just a really, 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 really bad game. And because our defense was so bad, the margin of error was so small, we didn't really get a legitimate stop because, they should have continued their drive after the missed field goal because of the dumb penalty, and they missed 2 walk-in touchdowns on that drive. So the margin of error for Garrett was very small, but look, it is what it is at this point. Now, Garrett's got to play better. Now, before I give you my final thoughts on Brian Kelly here, let's talk about all the extracurriculars, because that was, to me, the best episode of College Game Day I've ever seen. I hate it when they did game day in the in the parade grounds. It looks so much better in the quad. So whoever made that decision, kudos to you at LSU. Everything was beautiful. I thought the Ben Herbstreit thing was great. I thought the energy from the crowd was great. So many of you send me photos, texts, emails from you at the game. That's obviously so freaking awesome. Wearing your PHL gear, that's even better. But just the fact they all went is crazy because the crowd was excellent. The light show, all the stuff, Flage, Livy, Leonard Fournette, all these superstars, Paul Skeens there, Mondo Duplantis, it's all great, right? So Tiger Stadium, you did the damn job, right? We got a false start penalty. We had offensive linemen tripping over themselves, and, Brian Kelly did this. So everything else from the production and everything I'm hearing on the ground there was really good. Now, I hate that a film study is getting infiltrated with politics, but the Omar Bradley thing was so stupid. They're so stupid. The idea that you would bring in a Tiger from the state of Florida, Florida and Louisiana, 2 states that do not like each other. The fact that you brought Omar Bradley instead of Mike the Tiger, y'all, it's a curse. It's a curse. There is magic in Tiger Stadium, and the fact that Jeff Landry decided to Ted Cruz this thing. And by the way, for those that don't know who the Ted Cruz curse is, he's a Texas politician. Every time he attends a UT Longhorns game or a Houston Astros game, his 2 favorite teams, they lose miserably. It's a perfect record of them losing. Landry getting involved in this with the Tiger from out of state, it's just not good vibes. The vibes are off, okay? I could get into every analytic, every stat, red zone percentage, all that stuff. You don't bring in a non-Mike Tiger into Tiger Stadium. There's not a single fan that thought that this was a good idea, other than the fact that a live Tiger was in the stadium. Not a good idea. Now, all of that aside, this has been the number one question. Is Brian Kelly the guy? Well, as many of you know, 300 recruits were there. And I will say this again, whether it's DJ Chester or somebody else, I love every single LSU player on this team. I really do, okay? I know some of the players, and I support them through and through. But when it is clear that a player is struggling, okay, you have got to make a change. You have got to make a change. Center is tougher, but the fact that we keep rolling Major Burns out there, how is it that there's not anyone else out there that we can roll out to see what they can do at DB or whatever? It's lunacy. There are so many players on this team that are 4-star recruits or better that give you next to nothing. So we have to question our development. We have to question not only their football development, everything from nutrition to strength and conditioning. Are we doing something wrong? Or are these guys just duds? Where are these guys being recruited from? Should we spend more NIL money in the portal? There's a lot of these questions. And I'm still very public about it. And once again, I love every single player on this team. We should have spent more money to go get good players out of the portal. Okay, and yes, we beat Ole Miss, but Ole Miss to me is the best team in the SEC. And the reason why they're the best team in the SEC is they got a lot of proven commodities in the portal. And guess what? Not a single one of them have been a bust. They have all succeeded. Every single one of them. The only one that's not done anything is actually Logan Diggs, and he's hurt. That's the only reason. Every other player has been a stud that they got out of the portal, and I don't know why we didn't get any of those guys, right? How much of a difference would a Walter Nolan be in this game? Huge. What if we would have been the highest bidder for Trey Amos? Huge. It's a difference, okay? But whatever the case may be, I don't know if any of those guys would have come. I don't really know too much about their recruitment. other than, Kyron did a lot of work to try and get Trey Amos here. Whatever the case may be, we made some bad roster decisions, as you can clearly see. We've had some guys not play as well as we thought they were going to this year. Hey, that happens. But the fact that our backup plans haven't been as good, it's a problem. A lot of this is on Brian Kelly. I'm serious. And you guys know I have been very defensive of Brian Kelly. But, y'all, this was not only bad preparation, but bad roster management. And we had a favorable schedule this year. We really, really, really did. And we wasted it all. And with 3 games left to go in the season, we had a lot of breaks go our way. Florida's terrible. Oklahoma, this is the worst Oklahoma team we've seen in a while. We had Vanderbilt at home in 2 weeks. I mean, there was so much that went our way. We got the worst USC team in a while. Can't beat them. And we got the lucky breaks to beat South Carolina and Ole Miss. And we just collapsed and choked. And I understand you could say all you want about year three. Year 3, we're not ready. Whatever. But should Brian Kelly remain the head coach at LSU? Absolutely. As much negativity as there is with this, I would heavily consider bringing in a bunch of new faces, whether it's game manager or whatever, to help with the operation. Because obviously there are a lot of holes in this. And we are recruiting really well. The 2025s were there. I have called as many people as I could. Once again, it's super busy with the film studies. The 2025 still look pretty solid, right? I know a lot of you are like, well, I hope Bryce Underwood still comes. Hell yeah, he still wants to come. Who doesn't want to be a part of the environment? Those recruits freaking loved it, right? So I don't think there's going to be a recruiting mass exodus. I don't think wins and losses affect recruiting so much. You know what does? Coaching changes. So I think next year, LSU will run it back with the trio of Brian Kelly, Blake Baker, who's been really good outside of the zone read quarterbacks, and they're going to run it back with Joe Sloan, who did some good things in this game. He was not, of those 3, Brian Kelly, Blake Baker, and Joe Sloan, he was the least of LSU's issues, but he still wasn't great, as we pointed out plenty of times. But out of any losses that had happened at LSU, this was by far the one that is most on Brian Kelly. By far. Because a lot of the things that we knew going into the game happen, right? Turnovers happen. Bad interior offensive line play happen. Roster management decisions happen. All those things happen in this game, and it's unacceptable. And you, as an LSU fan, deserves better. Now, do I like being negative about this stuff? No, I don't. It makes me very uncomfortable, trust me, because, I've dedicated my life to covering this team, but it's got to be better. You as a fan deserve better, okay? I know a lot of you want to talk about Ricky Collins. Should we see him? I thought he should have played at the end of this game, whatever the case may be. But let me know what you guys think down below, okay? It is Pow Hour LSU. Boom! And tonight we are doing gumbo. Let's go.